everybody, welcome back to Culinary Undertaking. Thanks for stopping in, it's good to see you. Now today I'm going to show you how to make an easy chili. I'm going to call it Workday Chili because once this is done we're just going to throw it all into, we're just going to mix everything together in a big slow cooker, walk away and let it go. So you don't have to babysit it, you don't have to check it, so it's an easy thing to just put together before work, turn it on, come home, boom, dinner's ready. That's what I'm doing today. Or if you don't want to do that, you could always do it on a Sunday. Make this the day ahead, put it in the refrigerator, get it out the next day and eat it during the week as dinner. It heats up great in the microwave as leftovers. You can also freeze it. It freezes great, thaw it out, eat it. So it's really simple. And I know there's a million ways to make a million different kinds of chili. This is just a simple, easy one that I make a lot during the week just because it's simple and you don't have to watch it that much. Now, true chili people out there aren't going to like this video because I'm using ground meat, which I'm supposed to do in real chili. You're supposed to use pieces of chunks of meat, but we're using ground meat today. And I'm also putting beans in my chili. That's also a no-no for hardcore chili people. But we're using ground meat, we're using beans, and I'm still calling it chili, so deal with it. So come on in, I'll show you what we got going. I've already got some ground meat started over here. I'll show you what we're gonna do with that. Then we'll put the rest of the chili together in a crock pot, add the meat to it, and that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple. So let me bring you in and let me show you how to put this together. Okay, so here's our ground beef. I've already started browning it up. And as you can see, it's not quite done. There's some pink left in there, but that's fine. That's where we're at right now. Now I'm using 93.7, which means this has 7% fat. So the 93.7 is one of the leanest ground meat you can buy. You can use whatever you want. I don't really like the 80-20. I know a lot of other people, when you watch their videos and stuff like that, they love the 80-20 because it has more flavor. But when you're making something like chili and it's, you know, you're browning that meat in this container like this, or your skillet, you're going to end up just taking all that fat and draining it out anyway. So to me, that's just an extra step. So I like the leaner stuff. And then before this gets all the way done, while it's still finishing cooking, that's when I like to add my spices. Now I've already put some salt in here when I first started, so that's already done. So to this, I'm going to add some chili powder. And how much? Well, that kind of depends on how much meat you're using and how well you like chili powder. So that's another great thing about this recipe. There's no measuring tools here. We're just going to eyeball this, make it the way you like it. Now generally, depending on how much meat I'm using, I'll just kind of take my chili powder and just sort of give the top of the meat a nice coating like that. That's it. And then I'm going to put this aside because I'll also add this to the crock pot, give a little additional to it. And then I'm going to use some cumin. And basically my rule for cumin is I add it until I can't see the chili powder anymore. Just kind of shake a little on there. And there you go. That pretty much covered up my chili powder that was in there. I might add a little of that to the crock pot too. I'm going to add a little bit of parsley flakes. Parsley flakes, I don't know how much flavor they add or don't add, so if you have too much or have too little, I don't think anyone's ever going to know the difference. And then I'm going to hit it with just a little bit. I just have some plain paprika here. It's not smoked or spicy, it's just regular paprika. I'm just going to give that a little shake on there. Stir it in. Alright, now we're just going to let that finish cooking through the meat while we put the rest of our chili together. So let me get back over to the crock pot here and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so like I say, our meat's over here finishing cooking. Now I've got my slow cooker here. This is an 8-quart slow cooker. So I know most of them are 6-quart, but I've got a little bit bigger one. Mine's 8-quart. But don't worry, your 6-quart should work just fine. Now what I'm going to show you now how to put this together is going to be, even though I make several different kinds of chili, the base I'm going to show you now is pretty typical of what I'll use for at least my base sauce for the chili. And now I like to use a couple of cans. I got some San Marzano plum tomatoes here. And as you can tell, they're whole tomatoes. And a little extra step, rinse the cans, use the water in there. Don't waste any of this sauce that's in here. There we go. Then to that, I'm going to add some garlic. I've got 3 really big cloves of garlic, or you could use several smaller ones. Now here's where you can put what you want. We're not measuring, remember. So I like garlic. My family likes garlic, so I don't mind putting 3 big cloves in there. If you're a super garlic fan, add more. If you're iffy on garlic, use less or don't use any. It's your chili. And then I've got 1 big red jalapeno I'm going to add in there. And I've got 2 little tiny red serranos. I'm going to add those in there. Now, I'm not going to leave this way because my family doesn't like big chunks of tomatoes. If that's not a problem for you, if you don't mind big chunks of tomatoes, you can always just take these tomatoes like this and just kind of mush them with your hand. And once you do that to all of them and stir this around, you'll just have sort of a chunky base for your chili. But my family doesn't like tomato pieces, cooked tomato pieces in their food. So I'm going to blend this all together and make it smooth, and I'll show you how. So this next step is completely optional depending on how you like your tomatoes. And obviously if you wanted your tomatoes to be chunkier, you could go ahead and dice up your peppers and your garlic before you put them in there. But since I'm going to blend my tomatoes, I'm just going to do mine all at the same time. Our meat's done, I'm going to turn that off. Now you can do this in the blender, you can do this in the food processor and then add it, but I'm using my handy dandy stick blender. And one other thing that you might be wondering, where's it at? You might like onions in your chili. Now, my beautiful wife does not like onions. Don't ask me how. Who doesn't like onions? If you ask me, that's just bad parenting right there that she doesn't like onions. But regardless, she doesn't like onions, so I leave them out. If you like onions, you could definitely cut up some onions and put them in here. You could dice them up, you could cook them with the meat and then add them in here, whatever you like. This is your chili. So now I'm just going to take my stick blender and I'm just going to run in here and break up these tomatoes and garlic and peppers real quick. I think I got them all. I don't see any more chunks in there. So you can blend that as chunky or smooth as you want, or like I say, use your hands, break it up, and call it a day. So whatever works for you. And also another tip I'll give you, I don't really hawk products on here or specific brands or anything like that because they don't pay me to do it. So until someone wants to pay me to tell you guys what to use, I ain't doing it. But I will tell you, years ago I had one of these stick blenders, and I had just one of those $10 or $15 ones you pick up. You've seen them, they're all white plastic. And I used it a couple times. It went in the closet and I never used it again because it wasn't that great. And recently I was out and I saw this one. It was at my grocery store and they had it reduced and they had a bunch of them on clearance. So I thought, well, I'll try them again, I'll pick it up. This makes a huge difference. So if you want a good stick blender, pay more than $10 or $15, get the good one. It makes a huge difference. And now I use it all the time. Just FYI. Alright, so now we've got our chili. That's kind of where we're at right now. So that's all blended smooth. Now that's just our tomatoes, garlic, and peppers in there. That's it. Now I'm going to hit it with a little bit of extra chili powder. Again, we're not measuring it. If you don't like chili powder that well, don't put much in there. If you like it, do a little more like I just did. And same thing, I'm going to hit it with a little extra cumin in here. Cumin, whatever. Alright, now to that, you may not know, but chili's a great way to use up some leftovers. So I have some salsa that I had. We had tacos last night for dinner, and I had some salsa left over that I'm not going to use now. So I'm going to add that right in there. Now, if you had some other leftovers, like maybe you had some corn left over, you could throw your corn in there. If you had other tomato stuff, throw it in there. It's chili. It's going to mix in there just fine. Don't worry about it. Now, as far as the beans, I pretty much always pick up a couple cans. I've got these hot chili beans, and they come, you can see there's like a chili sauce that's in there with them. And I usually put a couple of those in there. Like that. Now, if you have a smaller crock pot, you may only want to do 1 can each of these beans, but I do 2. Or maybe you want to do 2 of one and 1 can of another. So whatever you want to do. Now, the other 2 types of beans, so I'm using a total of three types of beans in here. The other 2, mix them up however you want. Typically, I almost always use some kidney beans. Now, I've already opened these and I've rinsed them out and got all that thick syrupy stuff out of there because that's not good. But use whatever beans you want. So I'm using 2 cans of kidney beans, and I'm using dark red. That's just what I picked up. If you want to use the light red, use the light red. Now for my third one, I picked up some cannellini beans. It's just a white bean, and I mix that up. Sometimes I'll use a can of black beans. Sometimes I'll pick up a can of, you can use garbanzo beans if you want. I don't particularly like those in my chili, but that's the good thing about chili. Put whatever you want in it, whatever you like, that's what goes in it. We'll give that a quick little stir. And that's pretty much it. That's the base of our chili. One more thing. Put a little salt and pepper in there before we forget. So if you want to make this during the week, make sure you give yourself a little extra time in the morning to put this together. The longest part is going to be just browning off your meat. So, you know, if you give yourself maybe 20 or 30 minutes to put this together before you go to work, and boom, you come home and dinner's ready. Now we're just going to add our meat to it. And see, using that lean meat, I don't have any, I never drained this, I just cooked it until the fat was gone. But you can see it's not greasy, it's not fatty. And there we have it. Now what I'll do, usually cooking it in a slow cooker like this, I'm not going to have to add anything to it. If I was going to cook this on the stove top or like on the smoker, and I was going to cook it in my in like a Dutch oven or something like that, you'd want to keep an eye on it. And during the day, you're going to have to add some spice or add some additional liquid to it. But in this case, because it's in a slow cooker, we're going to have plenty of liquid. In fact, tonight this is going to be our dinner. For when everyone gets home, this is our dinner today. Now, the first day you make this chili, it's going to be a little bit runny at first. The first day, it's always a little bit watery. And, you know, it'll be about this thickness, which to me is kind of a little bit loose for chili. So if you don't like it that way, then make this the day ahead, because after today, anytime you heat this up now, it's going to be a lot thicker and it's going to be really good. So let me get this plugged in and started, and I'll see you right back here in just a second. Okay, and that's it. Our chili's all together. It's all in the slow cooker. There's nothing to do now but just turn it on low and walk away. Leave it until you're ready to eat it. Now everything in here is cooked, so it's not going to take, you know, hours and hours if you don't have that time. I would suggest cooking it for probably at least 3 or 4 hours. That way you got, you know, a chance for everything to heat all the way through and get the chance for the flavors to sort of come together. But I'm going to plug this in, and I'm going to not come back to it now for at least another 8 hours or so. So it can just sit there and cook all day. It's going to be fine. So once you turn it on low, walk away, go to work, go to school, go shopping, go golfing, go to your girlfriend's house, whatever, and come back and it's going to be ready for you. And I'm showing you just sort of the basics here. Now this chili, just as I showed you, is really good chili. I make it all the time. If you want to add more stuff to it, add more stuff to it. Now I do have other chili recipes. I'm sure I'll show you those in the future. There's different ways and different meats and different things that I do. So this is just one quick one. This is sort of it's during the week that, you know, I've got stuff going on and I just, you know, I want to throw together a quick chili. This is it. So I'll bring you back here in a little while when it's dinner time and this has been cooking all day. I'll bring you back. I'll show you what it looks like and we'll give it a taste test then. We'll see you shortly. All right, it's been a few hours. The chili's done. It is time to eat. Now on mine, I like a little shredded cheese. I've got a little sriracha on there. But as you can see, I mean, it's not runny chili, but it'll definitely thicken up as leftovers. So if you can handle chili that's like that, you're good to go. If you want it thicker, eat it the next day. Me, I'm going on in. Ah, that's good chili. So give it a try. Super easy, not much to it. You don't have to babysit it. Make it, set it aside. When you're ready to eat, it's ready for you. So I hope you give it a try. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.